Hi, this is Noah with Recurability, and today I wanted to cover with you just the basics of handling objections. And so, the first thing is in a sales situation, the most important thing is to learn the story of the person that you're visiting with and to gear your solution to be a fix for whatever pain point that they have. If you can learn that pain point and you can sell to it, you're going to have a much easier time overcoming objections. The other thing is when you're selling, you want to sell to anticipated objections before the customer brings them up. And what I mean is when you listen to a business owner, you can place yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, why wouldn't this person do business with me? And then you can sell to that before they bring those things up. And what that does is it creates an opportunity for you to communicate that you care about their situation and you're learning about their situation. And when you do, you'll find that objections won't come up to begin with. Now, if objections do come up during this, like the sale and the closing process, there are a variety of different ways that you can overcome that. One of the most common ones is the feel, felt, found model, where it's simply, I understand exactly how you're feeling. Other customers that have worked with me that have felt that way have found this. And then you're supplying the answer. And you want to be truthful and you want to be helpful. It does not help you if you're just making this totally up along the way. But what you want to do is you want to sell to their specifics. The other thing that's important and powerful in sales is to figure out your why before you visit with the customer. What I mean is, if you understand the why about why you want to do business with that person, why you're helpful to that person, you're going to be much more successful in overcoming objections. So I'm going to say that overcoming the objection is actually not nearly as important as simply finding out your why behind why people should do business with you in the first place, right? And you want to communicate that with enthusiasm to the people that you're visiting with, and you want to sell them on why they should do business with you before they even bring up any objections to begin with. The other thing that's key to handling objections is when a business or when somebody that you're trying to win their business brings up an objection, the objection itself usually holds the key to the answer to the objection. So if somebody says, your service is too expensive, really the answer to that objection is, you know what, in the realm of things costing one thing or another, in the end, really the most expensive option is choosing anything other than me because of this, this, and this, right? So what you want to do is communicate to them that, you know what, even if something appears to be too expensive, really in the end, that's the less expensive solution. And the other thing I'll note is that in the realm of like anything that people purchase, people don't want the cheapest thing out there in most cases, right? For instance, if you're going to go buy a home and somebody says, this house is too expensive, what they mean is it's outside of their comfort level to spend that amount on that home. And that could be 100% truthful. But supplying them with the cheapest home out there, like that's broken down, that is not going to solve this problem, right? What instead solves the problem is finding out their story, finding out what they need, and then selling to that specific need. That is the key to overcoming objections. The hardest objection is simply, I'm not interested, right? Whether it's, I'm not interested in doing business with you, I'm not interested in your product. And really the key to overcoming that objection, again, is learning the pain points of the business, paying attention to your surroundings, and being able to bring up things that engage the customer. Because if you can engage the customer and you can solve their problem, then they're not going to give that objection in the first place. If they do give that objection, which is a hard one to overcome, the answer really is most people aren't interested in all of visiting with me until they learn how I can help you and how I can address your pain points and how I can help your business grow or help you accomplish whatever your purpose is or whatever the product that you're selling, what it accomplishes. Because in the core, behind the scenes, what's most important in almost every sale is that you learn how not to sell, but how to serve the people that you're visiting with. And this is an extraordinarily important differentiator, is if somebody sits down with you and feels like you're serving them, they don't feel like you're selling them. People do not like being sold. They like being served, right? So what I would do is I would try to cater your solution, your product, to be a solution to the customer's problem. Let me share a story. Years ago, I'm not in real estate myself, but years ago I went to look at a house and I visited with a realtor and I brought him a big long list of all these houses that I was interested in looking at. And the realtor looked at the list and said, "Hey, thanks for putting this together." And he set it off to the side. He never even looked at an address on the list at first. And he said, "Tell me about why these houses are interesting to you. And tell me about what you're really looking for and what would like be the perfect house for you to find, given how much you want to spend." And I told him a few things about why I wanted to live in XYZ part of the city and why that was important to me. And he basically said, "You know what? I haven't actually looked at your list, but I have one house in particular that I think, based on everything you just said, would be a great fit for you." It wasn't on my list, this house. I went and looked at one house and bought that house. And it did not waste the realtor's time, and it didn't waste my time. And why? Simply because he learned my story, sold to my need, right? He didn't sell me a mansion that was substantially larger than what I was looking for. Instead, he sold me what I needed, and he served me, and he did so and won my business. So really, that's the key to overcoming objections is, one, anticipating objections and selling to them in a way that serves the customer. And two, knowing your value proposition, knowing why people should do business with you over somebody else, and then selling that on a consistent basis. And then if you need to, things like feel, felt, found can be very helpful in terms of helping you overcome objections. And the final thing I'll say is this. Years ago, I started my career in sales about 25 years ago. And the first company I worked for said that you haven't heard no from a customer until they've told you no at least 3 times. And I would say that really it should be the 4th no is the real no. So if you hear no 3 times, the customer is just trying to feel you out, right? Don't run away after the first no. The best way to handle an objection is to handle it internally and to realize that the customer hasn't really said no yet. He's only said no once to one thing. Instead, what you want to do is internalize that as when a customer tells you no for some reason, that you're on the right trail. You just need to find out what's important to them. And you need to continue down that process of simply learning about what's important to them and selling to their specific needs to serve them. So that's how I would overcome objections. And otherwise, it's Noah with recurability. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.